Hey, this is Mike. Thank you so much for choosing this video. Today we're checking out a 2022 Jeep Grand Cherokee 4xe or 4xe in the Overland trim level. So this is a plug-in hybrid with a 4-cylinder engine. This vehicle is sitting on 265/60 Goodyear tires wrapped around 18-inch alloy wheels with a gloss black finish. It also has 4-wheel disc brakes with ventilated rotors on all 4 wheels. The name of this color is Velvet Red Pearl Coat, and it's one of those colors that gets people talking about it and complimenting it. It's a really impressive color, especially on this vehicle. So here on the front, a lot of stuff going on here. Right off the bat, you may notice it has these blue recovery hooks here, kind of protruding from the bumper. There's also parking sensors across the front, so you can see it. They're integrated into the black portions. There's one right there. You got one right there as well. So it's kind of symmetrical there. But there's also one in the body color here on the far right there. Now the adaptive cruise control, radar adaptive cruise control system has a sensor right in here, that flat spot. There's also a camera here. So you can see the camera, and it has a little sprayer, so you can spray water on it to clear it off if it gets muddy or something. Now it has a thermal imaging camera as well, which is right here, and it also has the ability to spray water on it to clean it off. The thermal imaging is unbelievable on this vehicle. You got to check out my night video. I go over that. It is, because the headlights aren't super great, but with that thermal imaging, man, is it impressive. So you check out my night video, at night, Jeep Grand Cherokee 4xe. Okay, so the headlights, it has a nice bright LED daytime running light and a multi-reflector headlight system. And I show all this stuff in the night video. And the fog light is also a single reflector here at the bottom. It's not super low, but it does a decent job. They also serve as cornering lights as well. So the grille is actually a combination of chrome and gloss black. So you can see the gloss black there, and then you have the chrome there in the center, and then the very center part, this is like a frame, and then the very center part is a matte black or flat black, and then you have like a matte black portion here in the bottom as well as here. Now this, when I first saw the design of the new Grand Cherokee, I was just kind of put off, I guess, by this section right in here. But when they actually implemented it, I don't know if they had changed it much, but this right here was kind of like not looking good in the pictures. But together with the full package and everything, I think it's looking good in person. Looking at the profile, now you'll notice this vehicle has a black top. So the entire top of the vehicle is a gloss black. The pillars extending up, starting from, basically this front pillar here. The side mirrors are also a gloss black. And it has this kind of chrome strip that kind of starts with the mirror and goes over to the vehicle and then up and above all the glass there. There's also that same kind of chrome top basically on each handle as well. And the handles are body colored, and everything else is pretty much body colored here. Now the height of the vehicle can change. Right now it's in a low position because I have it set to where when you stop and put it in park, it lowers the vehicle down so you can get in and out easier, but it can raise and lower quite a bit. This is what the key looks like, and it's a full proximity key. Has a Jeep name on one side, chrome on the edges, and it's pretty good solid feel to it. It's a little heavy, but it has the lock and unlock, remote start, power liftgate, and a panic button. And basically, there's nothing on this key to indicate that you're holding a key for a hybrid vehicle. Some vehicles, some brands and stuff will have like some blue or some special marking on it. But this is just a regular Jeep key from what it looks like. But as long as you have this key with you, you can lock and unlock the vehicle simply by having it with you. You can use the vehicle 100% really by just having the key with you. So as long as the key is on the outside of any one of these doors, so these sensors are on any one of these doors. So what we do is to lock it, there's a little indicator right here, and that's where the sensor is. So there's 3 little lines, and you put your hand or your finger on that. As long as the key's on the outside of the door, it'll lock the doors. To unlock it, there's a sensor on the inside of the handle. So as you put your hand here, it unlocks the door, allows you access to the vehicle. There's also a physical key location here on the driver's side only. So like I said, this is a plug-in hybrid, and it has the plug-in here on the driver's side. So right in here, now there's no light that turns on when you open the door. So sometimes when you're trying to plug it in, it kind of, you kind of have to guess, I guess. So it could use a light, but it's a basic plug. It does not have any kind of fast charging capability or anything like that. It's not an electric car. It's just a simple plug. Now the vehicle comes with a 110, which is considered a level 1 charge cord, which takes about 12 to 14 hours to charge the vehicle and gives you about 30 miles range, 25, 30 miles of range. Now, if you use a upgraded level 2, which is basically 220, it'll charge at a rate around 30 amps, and it'll charge it in about 2 hours, which is much, much faster. So I highly recommend getting that upgrade. Here's the inside of the passenger side door. Really nice interior. It has soft touch surfaces here, and this is like a vinyl type material. Then you have this really nice wood grain going on. Really impressive. There is 2 presets here on the passenger seat, the passenger power seat, as well as a massage function, which feels really nice. And you can customize it on the screen as well. And then this whole section is divided up with this chrome strip. This is all soft touch, like a vinyl type material. Here, this is enclosed, so you can utilize that as a pocket as well as a handle to open and close the door. And then the bottom portion is a hard touch plastic, just durable and easy to clean. Then you'll have a large compartment there as well. Even has like a little place to kind of wedge an umbrella or something right in that area. And a cup holder. Big speaker grill, and it has an illuminated little badge here, Macintosh badge at nighttime. It's pretty cool. We got to check out my night video for that. So there's the threshold with the Jeep sill plate. A lot of functionality here on the passenger seat as far as the power function. So you have 4-way lumbar adjustment. You can tilt the back, you can raise the seat, tilt the seat. You even have a thigh extension going on this side. So a lot of functionality, a lot of motion of the seat, which is pretty cool because you can get in a nice comfortable position and watch a movie on this little screen on this side. We'll get to that in a minute. So these are leather seats, and they have the white piping here, perforations. These are heated and ventilated seats, have the stitching. Looking really nice. Now the Overland is kind of like embossed here into the back of the seat, looking nice. Very comfortable as well. For me anyway, I really like these seats. Okay, so right in here, you can see the leather, but right there where it transitions and meets up with this hard plastic, they go with a soft cloth right here. So that way it protects the leather and it's not digging into the hard plastic and damaging over the years. So this is more supple and slicker, and it's able to withstand and last longer basically. So this one has the rubber floor mats, which is really nice. Really, they're perfectly fit in here, and they kind of contour up a little bit. So like, if you have snow, slush, mud, wet shoes, anything like that, it encapsulates, it keeps all that stuff in here and not spilling out into the carpet of the vehicle. And then you can unsnap by lifting up, unsnap it without, like some floor mats, you have to unhook it, and you got to get in this weird position which dumps out all the dirt onto the floor when you're trying to get it out. This one you can lift it up directly and then take it out and then dump it. So I like the floor mats, in other words. They do a good job. Okay, so this is hard touch plastic here. There's a lockable glove compartment. Opens up, it's felt lined, and it has this like neat little green bag with like a topographical map on it for your manual. But yeah, pretty good, pretty decent sized glove compartment, nothing huge. And then all this is divided up just like the door with the chrome strip, and then you have the wood, black kind of vinyl type material here, and it's like a leather type material here at the top with a French stitching there as well. Here on the passenger side is a screen, And it's designed to where you can only see it from the passenger seat. When you look at it from the driver's seat, it has this ability to just kind of black it out, so the driver is not distracted by it. But you can turn it on here. Right there it has the passenger screen on button. And once it's on, it has limited functionality, but it does have access to USB ports for video. You have audio sources here. You also have an HDMI input. So you can actually watch video, listen to music, and control it right here on the screen. So there's 3 different options here to the left. There's the home screen, which we saw. This is like different alerts will pop up right here, or messages, and then the controls are right here. You can adjust the screen brightness, which is not very bright to begin with. You can scroll it, or you can tap this use little arrows there. You can have wireless headphones, in which you can connect here using a Bluetooth system, and you can adjust the volume for that as well. So if you're you can like watch a movie with headphones on, not disturb other people in the vehicle. That's pretty neat. All right, so the different audio sources are AM, FM, Bluetooth, auxiliary cable, and USBs, and then radio there. All right, the video sources are USB. Nothing's playing. And then the HDMI, you do have to plug in an HDMI cable in order to use that. So I don't have a device paired, like headphones paired to the system, but it's just a simple Bluetooth pairing if you have Bluetooth headphones. And so this is a video that I have on a USB drive that I rendered out so we can see what it looks like. We have the controls here, but then we have the full screen view here. And I thought it looked pretty good. I rendered it out in 720p just to have a safe resolution, but it looks really good on this screen. You can see the resolution. There's still some space there on the ends. And when you tap the screen, you have the controls here that you can easily get to. You can forward and back there on the, you can go like 15 seconds forward or 15 seconds back, like so. You can pause it. You can go to the next video, which only have 1 video on this drive. But you can go to the next video or next song or whatever you're playing. But yeah, I thought it looked pretty good. The opening here in the front, nice and wide open space. You also have the swing of the door is really good. So getting in and out, also the height off the ground, the seat height off the ground is perfect for me anyways. I can see, especially at this low position when you have the low ride height, so you can get in and out really easy. And it's just like perfect height for me anyway. Now the back door, you can see there's lots of headroom there, and there's no like big huge threshold to lift your legs over, so front and back is really easy to get in and out of. But this portion is quite a bit smaller as far as getting in and out there. You can see it's kind of tapered there. Also the swing of the door could be a little bit wider. It's just, it seems like it just stops a little bit too close to the vehicle. I think it would help if it was just a little bit more of a swing. So the inside of the door is very similar to the front, not really skipping out on anything, even adding a shade, a retractable shade, which goes down into the door like so. So you got the black vinyl, the wood grain, the chrome, the vinyl type material here, all soft touch, the handle, the speaker, even an additional speaker grill, illuminated speaker grill as well. And then you have the pockets at the bottom. So yeah, not really skipping on anything as far as the style, because the front door, sometimes they'll skip out on stuff in the back door, but this one's not the case. So this back seat is basically a bench seat. Now these are heated seats as well, where the perforations are. There's an armrest with cup holders. You can lift that up out of the way. And you can utilize that center seat as a passenger space. It does have the latch system for car seats. And let me show you how they implemented it. It has this flap that opens up, and you can access those latch systems. And I like the fact that it has like this attached flap. So you can fold it down, attach the car seat very easily. You can see that attachment very easily. You can get to it, you can see it easy. And when you're not using it, you can simply just tuck that back in. you don't, the flap is not removable. Like some vehicles have like these little plastic pieces you take off or whatever, and they're real easy to lose, and it just, I don't know. Or they wedge the little attachment kind of deep in a crevice, and it's hard to get to, hard to see, that kind of thing. So I think they did a good job here. These seats, you can recline them a little bit as well, so they're kind of more in the upright position now, and the headrests do fold down as well. So the back of both front seats, you check it out, you got this little chrome strip here. This is a hard touch surfaces here, here. And then it has this this net pocket on the back of both front seats, as well as these little bag holders, which is really handy. Those come in handy a lot. Now the floorboard is pretty decent as far as, you know, having a significant amount of legroom. Like if you're tall, and some vehicles you get in, your knees are sticking up in the air and stuff because the floor is so close to the seat. This one's not really that big of an issue. But this hump in the middle, depending on your center passenger, might be an issue. Now it is flat on top of that hump, but it is a little bit of a hump there. Controls here for the back seat drivers. There's the dual zone driver. There's actually a dual zone climate control here for this side and that side. It also has heated seats for the for this side and that side, not in the middle. There's a fan speed. You can change where you want the air to blow. Turn the system off as well. There's also a power inverter, 150 watt power inverter. Now this is a 3-prong, like an outlet like you'd find in your house, and then there's USB and USB-C ports here. Taking a look at the back of the vehicle, you can see these roof rails are gloss black, but they also have this little chrome strip in them as well, and you can put the crossbars across the top if you're planning on using those. There's a gloss black shark fin antenna, pretty good size one there at the very top. The third brake light is integrated right in here into the rear spoiler, but you also have a little camera right there, and that little camera is for the rear view mirror turns to a camera. So you have both options, the rear view mirror or the camera system, and the camera system is fantastic. I highly recommend using that. Now the rear wiper is down here, and it's kind of small. It'd be cool if it was integrated in there as well, but that's just the way it is. The taillights, it has a really nice sharp LED taillight system. You could check out my night video for that. Really impressive. And it kind of distinguishes the vehicle as you're driving down the road. You can say, hey, there's a Jeep Grand Cherokee right there. Sort of like the Dodge Durango. You know, you can tell from a distance that it's a Dodge Durango because of the taillights. So the camera is right here. And this is a little bit of a disappointment for an FCA vehicle. It is in the very center. It is in the very center. But it's a little bit tacked on looking. And it does have a little washer, but it's a little bit tacked on looking. I do appreciate that it's in the center. If it was a little bit higher, maybe integrated underneath the badge or something, and it was integrated into the vehicle and not some extra black plastic piece that's right there next to the tag, I think I would like it a little bit better, but it's still functional. It still works fine. And this is part of the 360 camera system. So you have a camera here. There's one on the underside of each side mirror, and then there's the one in the very front center. And it does a really good job of showing you around the vehicle. There's parking sensors across the back. In this case, they're all integrated into the body colored portion of the vehicle. There's also a tow hitch behind this cover, so you can take that off and access that. These are reflectors down here. There's no lights in there. Now it has exhaust surrounds integrated here, so you have the benefit of an exhaust that kind of is not hanging below the vehicle. It kind of goes through the bumper cover. So the only thing is, it's separate. It's like a separate exhaust flowing through the surround. So in order to get that view, to get that style, it kind of has that separation. So this part right here doesn't get overly hot. It also stays put, and it doesn't there's a lot of thermal expansion and all that stuff in exhaust pipes and stuff, so it separates it and just gives you a visual surround, but it also has real exhaust flowing through, unlike some vehicles where they make it look like an exhaust, but the actual exhaust is underneath the car. If you're wondering what these little squares are, that is a place for a tow eyelet to screw into, and it's used for like tying a vehicle down to like a rollback or something like that. And sometimes they're reverse threads, so keep that in mind. Okay, so let's go ahead and open this up. We can use the key. There's also the ability to like kick your leg too, and open it up. But I don't really care for that, but it has that capability. So you can kick your leg, you can use the key, or there's a button under there to the right of the camera system. So it has these two really nice lights under here, as well as speakers under this area, and I show this at nighttime. It does a decent job. If you have all the seats occupied with passengers, this would be your cargo space, which is significant. There's a lot of space back here. Very functional space as well. So here on the left side, there is a 12-volt power supply. You'll notice a little battery on it. That indicates that that it's connected directly to the battery. You don't have to start the vehicle to use that. There's also a bag holder here. I wish there was more of those though. There's only 2 of them in the vehicle. But then you have this button for lowering the power lift gate. Here on the right side is the other bag holder I was talking about. You also have the speaker there. And you'll notice that Jeep has been doing this for a while. I think they first kind of implemented it with the Renegade several years back. But you can see they have these little Easter eggs. So right there it has these little silhouettes here in the glass, looking pretty cool. And that's the different Jeep Grand Cherokee designs that they've had over the years. And then here is, on this side, it has like this little Jeep climbing up the corner of the glass. Another cool thing. But yeah, you'll be able to see them throughout the vehicle. So the subwoofer's there, and then we have tie downs. This lifts up. Now, kind of surprised that in the previous generations, the Grand Cherokee, this cover, when it was snapped down, this is just laying here. So that's a little bit of a disappointment in my mind. Before, you would push a button and it would unsnap, and then that way it's secure. Because this is just like a piece of, loosey-goosey material that could be flopping around if you get an accident or something. See, before it was secured. So anyways, this is where you'll find the spare tire. There's also additional cargo space here. And speaking of loosey-goosey, you've got that moves. This also, comes out. And that's pretty cool. It's like a little tray that you can take out, put stuff in, move around. Then you have space there. There's the tools for the spare tire. This is a full diameter temporary spare tire. But this is where you'll find, you don't have to keep it here, but this is where the charge cable is. And this is, like I mentioned, it looks like that. And this is the one with the regular 110 outlet. And no, you can't plug it into the power inverter over there to charge it. I know what you're thinking. These seats fold down in a 60-40 split. So you can fold that seat separate from this seat. So basically what it is that you can add to your cargo space while still maintaining passenger space. Either side, you can lower that one or this one, still have a passenger or passengers, and have an additional, like a long box or something, or just additional cargo space when you need it. So pretty good amount of room back here. Between that side and this side, these wheel wells really, it's 43 inches. So 3 feet, 7 inches. Now this measurement here will be slightly different depending on where you have the driver's seat. You can pull the seats forward. So in the position that I have now for me to drive, the measurement from there back here is about 71 inches, roughly. So 71 inches there, going that way. So the minimum space left to right that's just the minimum. You can have more space there on the sides or whatever, there in the front and here in the back. But that length is also a little bit negotiable because you can adjust those seats forward. If you wanted to, like, say, put a mattress bed or something back here, if you're going to sleep in it going on a camping trip or whatever, you can do that. And you notice that the seats aren't completely flat. They do swing up just a tiny bit, but it's not a big deal. I think you could actually, you know, use this as a place to sleep temporarily. So they did a good job of just kind of connecting those seats with this area here. Okay, one more measurement. Okay, so we got from the floor up to here is about 30.5 inches. And that's the low spot. It does kind of, you know, go up a little bit higher there, but that's the low spot there for the entry. Now, I mentioned that the seats recline. There's the different degrees in which it reclines. This is the vertical position, and that's as far back as it goes there, just to kind of give you a visual reference. Lowering the power lift gate, you just press this button. It beeps at you a couple times before it comes down, and then it comes down slowly, gives you a little bit of warning. Like I mentioned, there's a button right here to the right for opening it up. And then there's another button. Let's go ahead and stop it right there. Okay, so there's the button right there I used to open it. I pressed it again to stop it, by the way. And then this button is to actually lock the vehicle. So you can, you know, once you're done back here, if you want to like grab your groceries and you're done, you just press that press that button and lock the vehicle. Now, it's only if you have the keys with you. It senses the key and allows you to lock the vehicle. There's a locking fuel door, and you release it by pushing that button. And it's here on the driver's side. And it's capless. You don't have to worry about putting a cap on or getting the cap in your way or anything like that, getting your hands dirty or anything. And there's a little Jeep right here too, right in there, kind of in the plastic. Starting it up, as long as you have the key inside the vehicle, hold the brake and push this button to start it up. So what will happen, since this is a hybrid vehicle, sometimes the engine will start, sometimes it will it'll just turn on the systems, the climate control will start, and it'll say ready to drive, and the engine will not start because it can drive with just the battery power. Here's the floorboard in front of the driver's seat, and there's the accelerator, brake pedal, footrest. You'll notice the floor mat covers up all this stuff, the footrest and everything. There's no separation. A lot of vehicles have a floor mat that just go up to the footrest and don't actually cover that. And so in this case, where you're putting your foot, all the dirt and debris is going to go into the mat, not just in that little crevice, and it's a pain in the butt to try to clean out. So I'm glad to see they have a quality floor mat that's well thought out. So let's take a look under the hood. To open the hood, there is a latch right in the very center, right above that camera, right in there. Just reach in, move it to the left, and lift up on the hood. Doesn't take a whole lot of energy, because at a certain point it'll just go the rest of the way up by itself. Now you notice it has a seal across the entire engine compartment, both on the top and the bottom. So you have most of the seal is here on the underside of the hood with the insulation, and then you have an additional robust seal there on the back. This helps out with airflow as well as noise isolation. There's also a lot of heat shielding back here. There's actually insulation behind the heat shielding, so it's an insulated firewall, heat shielded as well, because this is a turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, and the turbochargers generate quite a bit of heat. You notice the engine is back there quite a ways, so it's way back in there. It's oriented this way, so the front of the engine is here and it goes back that way. Okay, so this is a 2.0 liter 4-cylinder engine, turbocharged, and it has the hybrid system. So together, that whole package, surprisingly to me, I mean, it's surprising, even driving it, it depending on what drive mode you have and what settings you have turned on and all that stuff. This is supposed to put out 375 horsepower and 470 pound-feet of torque. So that torque number is similar to like a Scat Pack Challenger or something, and then the horsepower is similar to like a Hemi 5.7 liter. But when you're driving it, it has some good acceleration, but it doesn't feel like that much power and torque to me. But, you know, like I said, it depends. I don't drive around in sport mode all the time, you know, so that's probably part of it. The intention with the hybrid system is to give you additional power, but also save you on fuel. So, you know, things to consider when you're looking at that, the specs. You really have to experience the vehicle really, because the specs might fool you into thinking it's like some race car or something. Inside of the driver's side door is just like the other side, except for it has a few more buttons. So you have the presets for the power seat, the massage button there. The lock and unlock power windows are automatic, all 4 of them. They're also laminated glass as well. And you see a little triangle on the side mirror. That is for the blind spot and rear cross traffic alert indicator. It's right there on the side mirror. So the back windows, these are laminated as well, and you see they go all the way down. Some vehicles, they don't go all the way down in the back. The side mirrors are adjusted here. You just pick a side, left or right. If you want to power fold them, you turn this all the way down to the bottom like so. It'll power fold them in. Turn it back and they'll go back out. One thing to mention, when there's a setting on this to where you can have it, when you put it in reverse, the side mirrors will tilt down. They tilt down to where you're looking at the dirt. So I had to turn that feature off because it was just completely causing problems backing up. So it's something that, you know, depending on what you're typically backing into, that might help or hinder you. So the power seat here on the driver's side basically has the same functions. The 4-way lumbar adjustments, tilt, and then this one goes up and down. You can tilt the bottom portion, and then a thigh extension as well. Heated and ventilated seats, very comfortable for me. Bolstering, it's not intrusive, it feels comfortable and looks nice. To the left of the steering column, we saw where you release the trunk, the hood right here. This is the electronic parking brake. You pull it to engage it and engages the rear wheels. Hold the brake and push it in to release it. And then the headlight switches are here. So it has off, parking lights, force the lights on, then automatic function. And then this button, you push in that for the fog lights. There's dimmer switches for the, I show this in the night video, the interior gauges, and this one's separate for the ambient lighting, the mood lighting. And then it has these buttons here, hybrid, electric, e-save. We already saw that button, that releases the fuel door. But hybrid switches just kind of automatically to get you the best fuel economy total. Switches from the engine to the electrical system automatically. Electric tries to focus only on electric. You're trying to force the vehicle into being as much EV as possible. And then e-save basically uses the engine more often to save the battery power for later. It also has the ability, which is very surprising to me, to charge the battery a little bit, because when I put it, there's a setting in the main screen, and I have it turned on to where it actually charged the battery. So you can put it in e-save and just drive the vehicle, and as you're coasting downhill or letting go of the accelerator and it has the regen, the max regen on, it's actually charging and increasing your range while you're driving. So like say the Pacifica does not have that function. It basically just, you run the battery to 0 and that's it. It's never gonna go back up. You have to plug it in to make it go back up. So technically, this is one of those plug-in hybrids that you don't have to plug in all the time. You could technically just drive it without plugging it in much, and it'll actually charge the battery and make the battery, you know, last longer. But still, you need to plug it in at least occasionally to give it a full charge. But I thought that was very interesting. So there's a tilt and a telescoping steering column here that's powered, which is nice. Before I put the shade up, I just want to comment on the heads-up display. It's hard to tell on camera. Sometimes the camera doesn't pick it up perfectly, but it is a very clear and sharp image on the heads-up display. It doesn't look blurry or anything. Also, it's not very distracting, so it's kind of a little bit translucent in the brightness. Once you get it adjusted and the position and everything, it is excellent, probably in the top 5 heads-up displays that I've seen. And the information is useful information, and it's not overly cluttered. So it can pop up once you turn on the cruise control, it'll pop up additional information there. But it gives you relevant information without always being cluttered. So I'm really enjoying the heads-up display. And I'm usually not a big fan of heads-up displays because a lot of them are not implemented well. I'm sitting in the driver's seat checking it out, and I have the driver's seat all the way back and all the way down, so you can see what the potential legroom is here. So I'm 6 feet tall, and it's like way too far back. So if you're over 6 feet, 6'4", should have no problem driving this vehicle. There's lots of room, both the length this way, but also the width as well. Haven't had any issues with anything getting in the way. So it has a really nice steering wheel. The steering wheel has the ebony wood right in here, stitching there on the inside, leather wrapped, gloss black kind of integrated in this portion here, and it feels really nice. It's soft to the touch. It has like basically a soft surface that goes in quite a ways, at least a couple millimeters. It just feels really comfortable. Now this is a heated steering wheel as well, and it also has a grip sensor. So it lets you know if you take your hands off the wheel, and it has the lane keep assist system, it's gonna immediately know that you took your hands off the wheel. All you have to do is just barely touch it and it knows your hand's back on the wheel. So it has that grip sensor integrated into the system. And I'm not sure how that works. I have to look into that. It's pretty interesting how I can tell if your hand is on it. So there's pedal shifters across the back here. So there's the plus there, and there's the negative here. And just below that, there is two buttons. There's an up, down, and then a center button on the right side and left side. So I'm on the back of both sides. And the intention is your fingers kind of line up with it when you have your hand right there. So on the right side is the up and down is the volume for the radio. The center button cycles through the audio sources. The left side goes up and down, changes through your audio tracks, radio stations, depending on what you're playing. And then the center button cycles through the presets for the radio only. Now you can have AM, FM, you can have satellite radio presets. There's different presets, but once you have them set up, you can cycle through them quickly by using that button. So here on the front, there's buttons here on the right side. This is for your cruise control. So once you turn it on here, you can set it with either one of these buttons, and then once it's set, you can change the speed with these buttons as well. You can resume there, and that's kind of like the normal cruise control settings, but it also has the adaptive cruise control, and once it's set, you can increase or decrease the distance between you and the vehicle in front of you using these buttons. And then the center button, here's the cancel button, that's pretty normal. But the center button right here is the lane keep assist. It actually keeps and follows the lane. It watches the lines, and if the lines are visible, sometimes they're not very visible, and then in that case it'll let you know that it's not, it'll turn it off temporarily until the lines are visible. But you can turn that on there. Now, if you press that button again, it doesn't just turn off the steering assist. It also disables the whole cruise control. So you have to start over again, turn it on, set it or whatever, change this, set it up the way you want, and then you can initiate that. But yeah, it works really well. It's once I turn it on, it's at a safe distance between me and the vehicle in front of me. The lane keep assist, it's fine. The steering assist, it's not intrusive. The only issue sometimes I feel like it's kind of like moves kind of like jerky sometimes, depending on the road conditions and stuff, which is kind of, it's a little bit different, but it's overall works fine. Here on the left side, there is this OK and these arrows, this little button right there. Those buttons correspond with a screen. We'll get to those in a minute. There's the little green answer and hang up buttons for the Bluetooth system. And I like the way they have them color coded, and I like the fact that they have separate buttons. So some vehicles just have one phone button, and you press it to answer, you press it again to hang up. This one, you have certainty on whether you're hanging up or not, or answering, that kind of thing. So you have the separate button for hanging up, and it's red, so you can tell the difference quickly. Windshield wiper controls are here, and it does have a rain sensing system as well. On the left side is just the turn signal and the headlight dimmer switch. Okay, so right here is a full screen. So this whole thing is a screen. There's no dials or anything like that. And it has a tremendous amount of information in here. So right now, it's just showing a digital speedometer. The tachometer is kind of blended here, which is, you can modify all this stuff. The digital compass is here. This is the status of what's going on with your power delivery system. So you have power from your engine and your battery that can support the vehicle, but as you're coasting downhill and you have the regen on, regenerative braking, it'll show you if it's charging or not. Down here is the engine coolant temperature, the status of the hybrid. It's running, the regen is on, and that's what that little indicator there is. You have a range. You have a range for battery, you have a range for fuel, and then you have a total. This is what the distance is set for the adaptive cruise control. And then this little thing right here, that little orange deal, that is how high the vehicle is. You can actually modify the height of the vehicle. Your fuel gauge is here, and the odometer is here. So there's lots of information just off the bat right there in this screen here. But using these arrow buttons and the OK and this button, first of all, let's try this button. We'll just refer to this to like a pages button, and it quickly kind of cycles through different views here. So we can go, we'll go ahead and go to this one. It shows this information. This one gives you your fuel economy. This first one is a trip, and it actually has two trips, trip A and trip B. You can reset those independently. So the next one is current fuel economy, as well as an average. The next one is your range, range with battery, fuel, and total. The next one is your adaptive cruise control, and then the next one is the whatever the radio's doing. All right, so there's those basically kind of quick access screens, but let's get rid of that. And let's go to the up and down arrow. So right now we'll have this information there. But if we go up and down, you'll see this is part of a full menu system. So we're originally in the first one where it says main menu, and you see a number 1 right there. So if we scroll down, I'm just going to kind of quickly scroll down, because going up and down changes categories. And once you get to the category that you want, then you can go left and right on certain screens to get more information. So right now this is category 1, the main menu. We can scroll to the right on this one, and it gives us our night vision, which is the first one to the right. It takes a second to load up because it's like a FLIR type thermal imaging night vision, and we can actually see it during the day, and it's just going to give us temperature differences is the main thing. But it does have a high resolution system. Really impressed with the frame rate, the resolution. Driving at nighttime, I have a full night video showing you what it does and how you use it and all that stuff. Fantastic. It's just, it exceeded my expectations for a night vision system in a vehicle. Really impressive. All right, so scrolling to the right again, this is what your driver assist. This is basically the adaptive cruise control system. And the status of that, you can also change. Those bars represent the distance. Those lines represent the steering assist system, whether it sees the lines on the road or not, that kind of thing. And also, there's a vehicle up there to show like a little vehicle that you're following up here as well. Scrolling to the right again takes us back to the original, where there's a speedometer and a tachometer. Scrolling down the arrow. The next one is vehicle info. That's the category. Now we can go to the right or left. Now some of these screens might look familiar because they're in that quick access screen. So this one right here gives your average fuel economy and a current fuel economy. You can reset that, and it also has the range. Scrolling to the right gives us a gauge summary. So it has, coolant temperature, transmission temperature, which is important for towing and off-roading. Oil temperature is also important for those situations, oil pressure, and battery voltage. So it kind of gives you a quick glance at the temperatures and pressures. All right, scrolling to the right again shows you how long it's before you have to get your oil changed, basically. And there's the tire pressure. Then it goes back to the beginning. Next category down is the hybrid information. So this shows the range with the battery, fuel, and total. Efficiency coach. So this will actually, as you're driving, it'll have this little bar that kind of like, if you go too far with the acceleration, then you're getting bad fuel economy, and if you're not, kind of slowing down with the brake slowly, then it kind of tries to keep you in this zone of efficiency while you're driving by looking at this indicator here. The next one would be the it's the same thing as this over here, whether you're using power or you're recharging the system. And it kind of swings back and forth depending on what you're doing. If you're going downhill and you're just coasting and you have the regen on, then it will be charging the battery using that forward momentum. All right, the next one is just the status of it. So there's different, we saw the hybrid, the electric, and the e-save. We can change that, and that's basically what the status is right there. All right, scrolling to the right, it goes back to the beginning. All right, the next category is the trip info. All right, so this will be trip A and trip B, and we saw this before in the quick access screen, in the pages screen. All right, so it gives you a total, and also gives you a time as well. The next one down is the navigation. It takes a second for that to load. So you can have the actual navigation map right here on the screen. There we go. And it fills it in nicely. It turns all the information around the edges into basically, have a little bit of a glare. That glare is on camera. It's not a big deal to my eyes. I don't see it hardly at all with my eyes, but the camera is making it look like a big deal. But yeah, it makes all the information around as just like overlays over the map, which looks really nice. All right, so that's it. So on the navigation category, there's no left and right. It's just you go there and then that's it. There's the map. Scrolling down again takes you to the off-road information. So right now it's showing you the height of the vehicle and the status of the four-wheel drive system. Scrolling to the right gives us our pitch and roll, and also our steering angle as well. So as I turn the steering wheel, it'll actually give us the degrees of the steering angle and the articulation of the wheels here, which is pretty neat. Let's see if it shake the vehicle. Yeah, you can see it moving a little bit. This is the pitch and roll. I misspoke. This is actually the pitch and roll. This is how much the degrees the vehicle is not level, basically, left to right, forward and back. And then it goes back to the original screen there. All right, scrolling down again takes you to whatever your radio is doing, and when you hit right or left here, then it's going to change through your presets. Scrolling down again will be stored messages. So like a little thing that pops up and says, hey, it's time to change your oil or something. The messages will be stored here. You can always go back to them in case you miss it when you first get in the vehicle. Slowing down again is your settings. So once you hit the settings, you can turn things on and off, but you can also change the content and the layout. So this would be the heads-up display, is what I'm talking about. And right now I have it at advanced, but you can customize it standard or simple. You can turn the heads-up display off, on. You can change the different view there, display height and brightness. So that would be the heads-up display. And then the screen setup for this screen is here. We'll go into that. And so upper left, so it provides a little shadow of what it's talking about. Upper right, or right side, lower center, current gear, odometer, favorites menu, defaults. So upper left is right up here. So right now it's showing a digital compass. Let's go ahead and change that to something else just as an example. All right, so let's change it to the time. So we can put that there, or we can have average fuel economy, we have current fuel economy, trip A distance, trip B distance, battery percentage, total range. We can have any of this stuff. So we'll go ahead and just put the time there. So you can see that different areas are customizable. Scrolling down again takes us back to the original category, which was the main menu. And this is the one with the speedometer and the night vision, stuff like that. So that's kind of a quick rundown of that screen. There's quite a bit of information there. You don't have to go in scrolling and playing around with it. It's just there in case you want to change your view, or there's a feature that you want to use, like the night vision. That would definitely be something I would use every time I'm driving. But it's quickly accessible right there on that first screen. You just hit the right button and it'll go right to it. So it's very easy to get to. All right, so we have some buttons up here. So this is max regen, so that you can turn that on or off. It's still going to have a little bit of regen when you're driving, but this is max regen. So basically when you let go of the accelerator, it's going to slow the vehicle down quite rapidly without even pressing the brakes. And it's using that forward momentum to recharge the battery. This is the lane departure warning system. You can turn that off or on. So this is the off light. When that light is on, that means it's off. See the little off there? Same thing with the traction control. Default is on. You can turn it off here if you need to spin tires. Four-way flashers, emergency lights are there. Parking sensors off. Default is on. So when this light is on, that means the parking sensors are off. That's the off button. That's a blank spot. And then over here is the turn on the screen that's over there. Now this screen, it's actually on right now, but from my angle you can't see it. It's designed to where the driver is not able to see it or be distracted by it, because you can actually like play HDMI movies and different things like that. So over here the passenger can see it fine, even though it's not super bright. I think that's kind of intentional, but especially here on this menu screen at nighttime it's just not bright at all, but even at the maximum brightness. But anyways, that's what that button does. And the touchscreen is fantastic, and it has a nice angle and looks good. The clarity is nice, the resolution, the colors, everything about this, the visually is good. Now it's a little bit different than prior Uconnect systems. They've kind of built on some of their good stuff, but you know, in order to try to add additional things, the system was kind of a little bit limited because it was relying on icons at the bottom. So they kind of had to add stuff. So one of the things I had to add was quickly push a button and see the 360 camera. And what I did was I pulled from the top and I made the selections here. The surround camera, I held it down and went up here and put it at the top as a little shortcut. That's one of the things I wanted to have. So I put it here at the top. You'll notice there's little icons here at the top as well. But the main icons are at the bottom. So the home screen is this right here. There's actually more than one home screen actually, because they're trying to borrow from like cell phone technology, something that people are familiar with. So you have the little tiles here, so that's the navigation. You have the radio, phone information will show up there. When you swipe to the right, you have these what they're calling widgets, and you can change these. So right now pitch and roll and the suspension information is there, but you can add more just by hitting it. And then, you know, like you can see with the climate control or whatever, you can put whatever you want in these areas. So let's go to schedule summary. All right, so it kind of gives you an idea about how long it takes to charge the battery and what the status of the, how long it would take based on what you plug it into. The regular 120 that the vehicle comes with is very, very slow. I definitely recommend getting the upgraded level 2 charging system. Okay, so that's the home screen. It basically several pages here. And then the next icon here is media. So this will be, right now it's showing the satellite radio, but you can change the audio source here. So you can hit that. There's FM, AM, satellite radio, auxiliary input, Bluetooth audio, USBs, and Alexa. You can also have Apple CarPlay, Android Auto capabilities as well. So this is what's playing. You can browse here, and then you can change the audio settings here. So once you're in the screen, it's really easy to make selections there at the top. The next one is comfort. And once again, we have the top, have the front climate, temperatures. You can sync them there, where the air is flowing. Heated seats, ventilated seats, and heated steering wheel are controlled here as well. The second one is massage functions. You can customize that once it's turned on. Press it, and it has these different settings here. So you have waterfall, and it shows the basically it shows you the pattern there of what it's going to do. Now you'll notice it has the waterfall, and then it has rock climb. It's like outdoor themed, so it's basically just a little slightly different massage function, but it's just kind of a cool name. Or you can just focus on the lower back, stuff like that. Alright, so this is the rear climate, so you can control it here, and I have it synced to the driver as well. The next one is the navigation. That's the next little icon there at the bottom. So there's the map there, and this really looks really good. My fingers are kind of dry, but yeah, you can pinch zoom and everything, see where you're at. You can quickly search here. You can also hit right here. Hit the wrong button. All right, hit right there, and you can search. You can add a home. You can have favorites here. You can even go into settings, like if you want to avoid tolls, that kind of stuff. Alright, so the next one is the phone, the status of the phone. And you can have several phones paired, and it'll be like a priority system to where, you know, you set the phone that's priority over the other one, and that's the one that you're going to use when you're driving or whatever. But let's say that person doesn't have their phone, you know, they're not with you, somebody else gets in, then that phone will be activated instead. You can actually have two active phones here if you select that. Now, you know, it'll let you know, like if somebody calls, then it'll go through the Bluetooth system either phone. So you can have two if you want. You just kind of have to figure out who's calling whose phone, that kind of thing. Alright, so the next one is the vehicle. So this one has quite a bit of information. You notice it has these categories here at the top. So this first one is electric vehicle. It shows the power flow, what's going on with, right now the engine's running, it's charging the batteries, and it's using the climate control. There's off-road information here. So launch off-road pages. These are specifically for the off-road. So when you're going, so vehicle dynamics, the steering angle, it's showing you the status of the transfer case is not locked together, and the rear locker is unlocked, so we're not going to do any serious off-roading right now. You can quickly look at accessory gauges here that's relevant to off-roading, the pitch and roll, select terrain four-wheel drive system. This is where, you know, basically the status of it. The next one down here will be the suspension and the articulation of the suspension up and down. Which wheel is up and which one's down, like if you're going over rocks and stuff like that. And then you can quickly look at the forward-facing camera here to see if you're approaching something. And it has these little tire marks there, and they actually move when you turn the steering wheel. So it kind of gives you an idea of where your actual tread's going to land as you're driving. So if you want to avoid an obstacle or something like that, you can do that. But if you're going through mud or dirt or whatever, you can clean the camera by pressing that button. You hold it down and it sprays on the camera to get any mud or debris that happens to get on this camera. You can also quickly look at the rear cam if you want to. Alright. So the next one is, this is also showing the height of the vehicle right here. So the next one's all the apps. So, or you can choose all. It's the app section, but there's favorites, recent, categories, and then all. So all, you're just scrolling through all these different, and they're called they're calling them apps, but these are just basically like different features, shortcuts to different features, a lot of them. Some of them could be, you know, considered apps, but it's basically just like USB 1 is not an app, it's just a shortcut to use that particular input. So there you go, all the different ones there. So that's another quick rundown of another screen. So this is, once you get it set up the way you want to, then you have your favorites here and you have everything the way you want, like I did with the camera there. It's really easy to use and very functional. The camera system's fantastic. The night vision system is fantastic. Being able to quickly, you can actually look at the front facing camera as you're driving fast, but it's only temporary, but at least you can check that. Same thing with the rear facing camera. So having those functionalities, some of this stuff is I haven't seen before in a vehicle, especially a night vision like this vehicle has. Okay, so the climate control is down here. So you saw that it has this comfort climate control up here. So you can adjust stuff up here if you want, but there's some redundancy because you have physical buttons down here as well. So you have your fan speed up and down. You have where you want the air to blow. Heated and ventilated seats here for the driver passenger. The heated steering wheel's here as well. And you can turn off the system. Front and rear defrosters are also here. Recirculate the air, automatic. So yeah, all the basic functions of the climate control is here. You also mixed in here is the radio function. So you can turn the radio off. You can mute the radio. This is the regular volume knob. This is to tune through the stations, and then you can turn the screen off if you want. Right here is the a wireless charge pad, as well as USB input. So this is the USB-C and regular USB auxiliary input. You'll even have an HDMI input as well, and this is for the screen over there. 12-volt power supply as well, and you notice it has a key right there. Anytime you see a key, that means it turns on and off with the ignition. With the one that has the battery, it's always connected to the battery, so you don't have to have the vehicle running to use it. So this one turns off when the vehicle turns off. There's the wireless charge pad right there. There's even a little light in here as well, and I'll show you that in the night video. This is a rubberized surface as well. So there's the different drive modes. It has rock, sand, mud, snow, automatic, and sport. And you adjust it by putting it up here. And it has like this little image up here that pops up. Kind of snow, and it shows you what you're in, rock. So it gives you a little visual there as you change through. The height also changes on some of them, and right now it's changing to a higher position because I changed through all those different those drive modes there. But right here is how you manually change through the height. Now I have it set in the settings to where it drops low when you come to a complete stop and put it in park, so that way it's easy to get in and out. And then it goes back up to the normal, what is called aero position, where it's most aerodynamic height once you start driving. So it has some, settings there as well. Another thing I changed was I stopped it from beeping every time I lock the door or remote start the vehicle. I turned that off. So there's quite a few things that you can set up for your preferences, like I did. Okay, so four-wheel drive low. So let's say you're going through some thick sand or some rock or whatever, and you want to put it in four-wheel drive low. You can just enable it there. But so it's easy four-wheel drive system to use. It's for the most part automatic. But if you need to get into that low range, you can force it into that if need be. Then you have a downhill descent button. So this is for basically keeping you at a slow, steady, non-sliding speed down a hill. Like if you're in an off-road condition, it just gives you that really slow off-road or uphill. It's downhill or uphill. Either you're climbing steadily or you're descending steadily. So it's like sort of like an off-road cruise control type thing. This little neutral right there, I don't have experience with it, but that is for flat towing. You can disconnect the drivetrain system. Alright, so the right here that opens up, and there's some cup holders. It does have some illumination in here as well. It's open here, and it's kind of rubberized, little bumps in there as well to keep kind of fill in for different size cups, which is good. Wish all vehicles had that. Okay, so there's the armrest. Pretty soft, kind of rubbery soft though, but it's soft. It's not like some vehicles where it feels like a rag laying over an anvil. But this lifts up in two portions. So you have the top portion here. It's like a felt line, little quick access pocket, and then the second portion, there's two levers there, top and bottom, to open up. The bottom one opens up and has another felt line compartment here as well. This one's lighted, and just basically a junk drawer of the vehicle. There's an auto dim rear view mirror, but it also has the rear view camera system. So if you just flip this up like this way, it has a camera instead of the mirror. So that way you get a direct view behind the vehicle without pillars and passengers and cargo and all that stuff that's in the vehicle in your way. So like right now, the camera's in the way. Right now, you can see directly behind the vehicle. So it's pretty handy. And also you have settings here that you can go in, adjust the brightness and the brightness up and down. You can also adjust the height of the view and stuff like that. So yeah, really cool. Once you get used to this, it's hard to go to a regular mirror. All right, so this is a little spot to put some shades. It's felt lined. You have little tap lights here, reading lights. You turn on all the interior lights with that button. Have the default is that when you open the door, the lights turn on. You can turn that feature off by pressing that button. You also have roadside assistance and emergency services that the vehicle can call even without a cell phone. It has its own wireless connectivity, so you can call for roadside assistance right here. So you can accidentally press the buttons, but it'll give you a few minutes or a few seconds to change your mind. It's not going to just like immediately call 911 or something. So these buttons here for the sunroof, and this is for the shade. We'll get to that in just a minute. The visor is a cloth. It's like a gray cloth, and it matches the headliner. And then you have lights and a mirror, and the visor. And the visor also has the HomeLink garage door opener controls here, and they have little backlights, which is pretty cool, and a little clip right there. Basically the same thing on the other side, except for the HomeLink garage door opener controls. This vehicle has a massive sunroof that goes all the way back over the heads of the passengers in the back. So first things first, the shade. So you press, the first press on the shade will bring it back halfway. Second press will make it go all the way back. If you hold it, then it'll basically stop where you want it to stop. You just let go and it'll stop. So you can now open it up partially if you would like. So the button on right there in the middle, if you press that, that tilts it up and just kind of tilts up the front. The front portion glass moves, the back portion is fixed. So we can tilt it back down, and then the one on the left opens it up. Press it again, goes a little bit further back. Right there is as far as it goes. Close that. I was trying to get it to close the shade at the same time, but it's not doing it. So when we close the shade, one press, it'll go all the way closed. And I like the fact that the shade covers 100% of the light. There's not like a translucent shade or something. Actually can block all the sun. Looking at the visibility, really, it's not really a big issue. I haven't had any problems. The back seat headrest kind of line up with the pillars back there, so that's really the only issue. Really, is the pillars. I mean, there's the windows are big enough, and depending on your passengers and your cargo, it's going to limit your visibility. Just kind of looking over my shoulders, changing lanes, and looking around when I'm backing up, it hasn't really been an issue. Especially since it has the rear view camera, the 360 camera system, the rear cross traffic alert, blind spot detection system, parking sensors. It has all kinds of redundancy as far as, you know, making sure that you're driving and changing lanes and backing up safely. So for me, it hasn't been an issue at all. I've had total certainty when I back up out of a parking space or when I'm changing lanes. So that's good. Pretty cool when you turn the screen off. It has the date and time right here on the screen, looking really sleek. Has a little shadow below the date. Below the time there. And sometimes you just want to focus on, you know, the time, especially, you know, or if you just want to see the date, you know. But sometimes you're in a hurry, you need to focus on time is of the essence. You kind of need to focus on that, and you can have it right there, nice, big, and easy to read. So I like that calm screen that they have there when you turn the screen off. You can also just tap the screen to turn it back on. So let's put the navigation up so you can see what that looks like. And I have it in hybrid mode. Now there's different modes: electric, hybrid, and eSave. eSave, unlike the Pacifica hybrid system, the eSave, or actually the Wrangler 4xe as well, doesn't charge the battery. You just can reserve the battery for future use. But in this case, if you have it set up that way, if you have it set up in the settings and you choose eSave, not only does it save your battery life, but it also charges the battery. I can see the range going up as I'm driving when I have it in that setting. Now the engine's running pretty much all the time, and the engine's kind of loud for a 4-cylinder, It reminds me of the engine that's, this noise that was in the Pacifica. It basically just, when it started up, it's like kind of a little bit loud. And it's the same thing with this. It's like, is this a diesel engine or something? Now on paper, this vehicle has a lot of power. It's like ridiculous how much power it has on paper. But it's when you're driving it, you really have to have it in the right mode, and sport mode, and everything, in order to really experience all that power. Normal driving, it's definitely adequate power. It's fast. I mean, it has acceleration, but it's, by looking at the power numbers in the spec sheet, you would think it would be faster. But like I said, the intention of the hybrid system is to give you additional power, but also for fuel economy and stuff. So it's not always for the power. So you have to have it in the right settings in order to experience that power. But just normal driving in hybrid mode, very easy to drive. Let's go ahead and put it in electric because there's plenty of range here. Yeah, it's interesting feeling the electric portion change gears, because typically, like, electric cars will have just one gear, but it's kind of neat to have it changing gears. And it has like this little whistling noise when it's in full electric. But it's much quieter when the engine runs. Let's go ahead and put it in E-Save. And once the engine starts up, sometimes it's kind of loud. Alright, so the engine's running now and it's not that loud. So, yeah, I don't know why sometimes it's louder than others. But the lane keep assist, the steering assist system, is pretty cool because it follows the lanes nicely, and it can tell basically as soon as you let go of the steering wheel, the little steering wheel on the screen turns yellow. It can tell, it has a grip sensor, so it can tell if you're holding the steering wheel or not. There's also these green lights there on the side of the gauges, and basically those let you know that it can see the lines on the road, so it has that steering assist is active. So as soon as either you turn the system off or it doesn't see the lines on the road, then those green lights will turn off. So that way, you know that the system is not, currently trying to steer the vehicle. You have to steer it. And that's basically why you have to hold the steering wheel, because there's times when it doesn't steer. I prefer to drive the vehicle myself. That's kind of the part of the fun of owning a vehicle, is driving it. But overall, the way this vehicle drives, it's very comfortable. You're able to just kind of cruise around. You have enough acceleration to zip through traffic. You have a really good turning radius, and I don't know, just an overall nice, comfortable, quiet experience, other than the engine sometimes. And it kind of has some aggressive tires too, so you hear some road noise sometimes, depending on what road surface you're on. But plugging it in, typically on a plug-in hybrid, you kind of have to plug it in all the time. This one seems like you can, get away with not plugging it in regularly, because it will actually charge the battery if you put in that e-save mode and you have it set to do that. So that way it, preserves the battery, because you don't want to keep a battery at 0 all the time. So like a Pacifica, you have to plug it in. Otherwise, the battery will be on 0 all the time. It's not going to charge it, so it could potentially cause a premature failure based on not charging it regularly. So this one, kind of best of both worlds. It has the advantages of a plug-in hybrid as well as a regular hybrid, since it's able to charge the battery. So yeah, very impressed. There's so many things about this vehicle that's just stands out. That night vision system is really incredible. The overall night experience. The headlights are not super great, but everything else is good. The approach lights, the ambient lighting, it has every little pocket and everything's lit up for the most part. Floorboards are illuminated. You have puddle lights as well as approach lights on the inside of the door, outside of the door. The handles are illuminated. It senses the key when you get close to the vehicle. It can tell you, it starts turning lights on. So yeah, it's just overall implemented well. And I had high expectations for the Grand Cherokee, because the Chrysler group, or the whatever they call it now, Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram vehicles, they do a pretty good job as far as lighting and just designing the vehicle in a way that's easy to use, and it's designed for a person to use it, not just designed to sell. So really impressed with it, even though I had high expectations. So it met a lot of my expectations. The only thing is the headlights could be a little bit better. They're just not all that great. They're good, but for this level of vehicle, it really should be at a higher level for this type of vehicle. But anyways, so there you have it. There's a lot of features on this vehicle. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Let me know what you think.